Fan del wrestling, ma soprattutto fan di The Shield of Sports, benvenuti a una nuova puntata di Over the Top Rope. Io sono Bruno Giuliani e come sempre vi ricordo che il podcast è disponibile in formato video su YouTube, con le grafiche e le statistiche realizzate dal nostro Leonardo Ungherini, ed è in formato audio disponibile su Spreaker, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast e TuneIn. And if you didn't understand a single word of what I just said, I remind you that this podcast is available on YouTube with graphics made by Leonardo Ungherini, and audio format is available on Spreaker, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast and TuneIn. So without further ado, I introduce to you our guest, Carlos Romo.
Hello, hola.
So,
¿Cómo estás?
Carlos Romo, you dropped a video on your social media where you said that during the pandemic you found out what was your real self. So the first question I'm asking you is this: who was and who is now Carlos Romo?
It's not that much that I found my real self, but that I realized that I was like holding myself back, like my real self back. So, Carlos Romo has always been a person that's lived through passion. That's legit what drove me every time. I got into music at a very little age. I got into basketball at a very little age. Same with wrestling. And when I got into those things, I got like super into them because I really cared about them and gave my everything to them. And even when I was giving my everything to wrestling, I wasn't maybe like paying that much attention to my own ideas or how I don't know if it's how I felt, because it was how I felt, but not like to the outsider influences that I would have, like the influences outside of wrestling that I would have, or how I am in real life and how I treat life in real life. And I don't know if that was like transcending into wrestling as much as I would have liked to. And yeah, so like this year where we had no wrestling, and I was like, because I was living in the UK but now coming back like staying a year at home, it just gave me time to connect with myself and be like, okay, I did want to like, and I still want to listen to everyone, and because I always cared so much about everyone's opinions, everyone's that I thought that I had, like everyone that I respected and I thought that had good experience and that I could learn from, I would keep on asking. So many times I had like so many different opinions that I would end up like getting a mix in my head and not doing any of them, or doing one and feeling like I was like betraying the confidence of the person that gave me the different idea. So it was like this whole time has allowed me to take a step back and be like, okay, I'll ask and still listen and still like try to pick the brains of the people that have been in the business for longer than myself. They're good. But I'm gonna trust my gut too a little bit more, and I'm gonna try to do stuff myself too, and sometimes risk it and see if it pays off.
So let's all take a step back. You were living in Madrid, right? And then you suddenly decided to leave Spain and go abroad. What was your goal when you first like went away from your home?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What was your goal when you first went away from your house, like out of Spain?
My goal was really to like immerse myself in the British scene, because it was like a great period. I had been already traveling to the UK and wrestling over there for like a year and a half when I moved there. But it was only like the weekends, so obviously you got the time to experience the shows, but then you would see like, oh, there's midweek shows that we can't do, or there's training sessions, like you'd see my colleagues being like, oh, it's Tuesday, whoever came training, like a great name, a big name, or like we had a show on Friday, and Monday and Saturday and Monday and Thursday we had whoever it was, like the main star on the show, running a seminar. And so here in Spain, we'd be like basically training each other. So obviously, like there's a big difference when the people you're like training every single day are professionals, or when like a Tuesday Pete Dunne comes and run a training session.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I was like training with myself, with my colleagues that were like either on my level or a bit less experienced. So obviously, like I felt like I had to take a bigger step if I wanted to progress, and because also like we were getting big opportunities in the UK, or that's how I felt, like we were getting shots of pretty big opportunities and we were getting some popularity, and I wanted to feel capable and be capable of delivering at the level of those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. So it was a way to step up your game, let's say.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was the main goal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So about big opportunities, I remember that you wrestled in a episode of NXT UK alongside A-Kid.
Mhm.
So can you tell us your part of the story? Like what was like for you to wrestle for NXT UK? What happened?
It was great. It was really fun. To be honest, it was like one of the easiest matches I've had to run. Like, really, it was a 3-minute semi squash where like we had very little offense and we had to take a little bit of control and a couple moves, but that was it. Like, wrestling wise, it was like one of the easiest matches of my life. And Eki and I talked about this. Like when we got in the ring, it was same as always. It didn't feel extremely special in the way of like, oh, I'm not focusing on the match because I realized this is like this huge field arena, and we're like there's like WWE logos on the corners. Now, when you wrestled, and it was the same. We always did. When you realize about like the impact of what we were doing and how big it was like, okay, when we were like preparing the entrance and then seeing like the big Titantron and then looking at the empty arena like for hours and then like seeing the full arena, because it was Glasgow, first time they went on up there, so it was like 2,000 people, which was a bigger crowd than the standard like NXT UK tapings crowd. Then like the one thing that shocked us the most, it was like when we were coming back from the match, there was like kids running trying to like shake our hands for their lives. And that was like super cute, and we just thought about ourselves being little kids and doing the same thing. So that's when you realize like, oh shit, like this is cool and this is like very, like you realize how big it is. And obviously like, because we didn't tell anybody in Spain, like we told our significant others and maybe like one friend each, but that was it. Or we didn't even say like what we were doing, but maybe like check your phone. So then like our phones started like exploding, like exploding. It was unreal. It was like, okay, I can't even like touch my phone. Like this is insane. This is like madness, actual madness. So yeah, like it was super fun and yeah, it was a blast. It was good.
What did that your experience in NXT UK? You did just one match, if I remember correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did that one match? Did it bring something out like really good, like some opportunities, some visibility? I don't know.
Visibility for sure. I think it helped more in like the grand scheme for like Spanish wrestling than myself. Obviously, for me, my resume, I can always say like, hey, I did NXT UK, like I wrestled for WWE, and it's good. It's good. Like it's something you want to tick off your list for sure. Like that was the goal when like I started wrestling, when I only knew WWE. But then onwards, like even if it helps, I don't think, like I'm not sure how much it's given me in terms of like other opportunities, visibility for sure, new fans for sure. But again, it was a match where like it could have been us or it could have been any other.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the stuff we did in the match, you did need to be special. So or that's how I feel, at least. Like maybe you are, but to me it just felt standard. So the match itself, I don't think it's something you watch and you'll be like, oh, I need those guys.
Yeah.
But it's still obviously definitely added, and we had connections, and obviously the good week we spent over there training with everyone was great. Overall just a great experience. Like, I don't know how much we got like directly from that match, but indirectly from that whole week we got a lot.
Okay, so speaking of big productions, I know you wrestled for promotions, for a promotion that is like Rev Pro. What is like the difference between wrestling for let's say a standard promotion and another one that is at a high value on production and everything?
Well, it depends, because also Rev Pro runs bigger shows and smaller shows. Rev Pro runs loads of shows. So I'll compare it to Yoko show, like one of those big production ones. I feel like with independent wrestling now, there's been more and more companies that have been like upping their game in terms of like production.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I did Wrestle Carnival the other day, which was like their second show, I believe.
It's Ring of Honor, right?
It was like like a collaborative show with Ring of Honor. But the production value for Wrestle Carnival the other day was amazing, with like big screens. Like, I saw everyone like headsets, and like when I had a little bit time to like step back and not focus on my match and then see like the show and see how it was working, it was like, okay, this is like real well produced, or it seemed from the outside. And then you still have shows that you go there, like there's absolutely nothing, like just some chairs in the ring and whatever house lights there's over there. So those would be like probably like the least like glamorous, or like the lowest production value shows. But again, like when you get in the ring, the feeling is slightly similar. You do feel maybe a little different in some of those like high production venues, like for example Fight Club Pro.
Yeah.
Basically, because it was hard to see the crowd outside with the lights on. So it's like slightly different. Like, you cannot really create that eye-to-eye connection or see like how the people reacting or what are the expressions. But it wasn't that much of a difference once you get there. It's a difference when you arrive at the venue, and depends on the commodities you have before and after the show. And basically, when you do your entrance, and you might have like screens and a good sound equipment, and be able to see like a good atmosphere or a big crowd while you're doing that always gets you like hyped up to wrestle. But once you get in the ring, you do your thing.
Okay, so right now we will stop for a little bit for our sponsors, and then we will be back.
Fan del wrestling, ma soprattutto di The Shield of Wrestling. Se volete rimanere sempre aggiornati in tempo reale sugli ultimi avvenimenti del vostro sport, spettacolo preferito, allora seguite www.theshieldofwrestling.com. Potete trovarci anche su Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram e perfino Discord. Durante la settimana vi terremo compagnia anche con i nostri podcast: Over the Top Rope, il programma di riferimento del wrestling italiano, in onda mercoledì alle 19:30, e What's Next, conosciuto come il club di The Shield of Wrestling, all'interno del quale discutiamo degli avvenimenti più importanti avvenuti durante la settimana. I nostri podcast sono disponibili praticamente ovunque, potete ascoltarci attraverso Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Speaker, Spotify e TuneIn. Non è finita qua però, perché noi siamo sempre pieni di novità, e l'ultima, ma non meno importante, è l'apertura di fight.theshieldofwrestling.com, il sito dedicato agli sport da combattimento, grazie al quale potrete sempre rimanere aggiornati sulle ultime notizie provenienti da UFC, Bellator, One e dal mondo della box. Inoltre avrete la possibilità di seguire insieme a noi l'avvicinamento alle Olimpiadi di Tokyo 2020 per quanto riguarda gli sport da contatto coinvolti. Tutto questo è disponibile comodamente e gratuitamente anche all'interno della nostra app, scaricabile dal Play Store. Questo ed altro ancora per offrirvi il miglior servizio possibile, perché non dimenticate mai che we are the Shield of Wrestling.
Appassionati di sport, ma soprattutto di The Shield of Sports, un caloroso benvenuto dal direttore Yuri Martinelli all'interno del portale dedicato ad alcuni degli sport più spettacolari e mozzafiato che esistono. Da noi potete trovare le principali notizie dedicate alle quattro ruote: NASCAR, Rally, Formula E, IndyCar e non solo. Non si corre solo in auto però, ed infatti qui è di casa anche la motocross, le BMX, il downhill e l'endurance. Il nostro obiettivo è portare alla luce e aggiornare quotidianamente i fan di sport che non possono assolutamente rimanere in ombra. Ed è per questo che non ci fermiamo qui. Vi aggiorneremo anche sul mondo della scherma, passando per il softball, senza dimenticare la box, l'MMA, il pro wrestling e tantissime altre discipline e competizioni che possono e devono essere portate alla ribalta. Non dimentichiamoci che il 2021 sarà caratterizzato anche dalle Olimpiadi di Tokyo, che finalmente potremo vedere. E con The Shield of Sports potrete seguire l'avvicinamento a questa storica rassegna di data e di conseguenza rimanere aggiornati durante tutta la durata della competizione. Questo è ciò che potrete trovare su The Shield of Sports. Se volete unirvi a noi, non vi resta che seguirci sui nostri canali social. Ed ovviamente non dimenticate mai che we are The Shield of Sports!
Segui lo sport più di ogni altra cosa. Ti piace parlare subito di quello che vedi. La scrittura è la tua più grande passione. E allora noi facciamo proprio al caso tuo. Il gruppo The Shield of Sports ha riaperto le candidature per le posizioni newser, social, video e podcast. Come fare per collaborare con noi? Ma è molto semplice. Mandaci una mail all'indirizzo info@theshieldofwrestling.com oppure info@theshieldofsports.news. Raccontaci chi sei, che cosa fai, perché vorresti collaborare con noi. Noi leggeremo la tua mail, ti risponderemo subito e chissà che anche te entrerai a far parte del nostro fantastico mondo sportivo. Ma soprattutto ricorda, we are the Shield of Sports.
And we are back with Carlos Romo. You come from Spain, so how is the Spanish wrestling scene? Because a lot of our fans don't know if it exists.
I mean, it exists.
I know it exists, but how is it? Like, what's the level? What are the main promotions there? And how is the general feeling about wrestling in Spain?
Sure. See, right now it's hard to say because obviously with the pandemic, like everything's been stopped for like a year and a half. And while other countries were able to like keep on running and doing some little things here and there, like with maybe like no fans, like closed tapings, but they still had shows, or maybe like in the States where they would still like be able to wrestle and do some shows with social distancing, but they basically kept on running, like they only stopped for like a month or something. The UK is coming back to doing shows like on the regular now. While here we still have no chance. There's been like a couple of shows in Barcelona, but that's basically it. And like one in Sevilla with the Arnold Classic. But there hasn't been that much, so it's hard to gauge where the wrestling in Spain is at right now.
Okay.
But with that being said, this is something I was talking about with some friends recently. But I feel like it's really moving, and it's really like on the rise. There's loads and loads of schools opening. When I started wrestling, you had one school in Madrid, one school in Barcelona. That's it. And you obviously had no people with international, with some with international experience, maybe like one person. And it wouldn't be like big international experience or like enough international experience to be like, hey, I'm a professional wrestler. Here's what I've learned while being a professional wrestler. So it was like a way harder path for all of us, like the ones we wanted to make it. Like the first day I went to training, they told me, if you want to be a professional wrestler, like make a living out of this, go home. This is not your place. We come here to have fun. So that was like the mentality when I joined.
Mm.
And now there's like 2 schools in Madrid with White Wolf and New. It's like New is like, that's a New European Wrestling.
Okay.
Then there's Barcelona with Resist, which is great. There's also Lucha Libre Barcelona. There's schools opening like Taris in Valencia. They have Sevilla Wrestling down in the south. They were opening stuff in the north. And basically, like, what I keep... there's something in Euskadi too. Euskadi is like Basque country. They're like opening stuff from like everywhere, and I keep seeing like a message from like the south in like Malaga or Cadiz and TWE when I did for them, like I did a seminar for them. And like every 2 months or something, I see like people sending me a message and be like, hey, we're doing school over here. Or just see them pop up on Twitter like, hey, can you just maybe help us with a retweet or something? Or if you know anyone from anywhere near us, can you help us? And like, can you help us like see if anyone would be interested in creating a group with us to train? So I feel like now that there's like, and this is what I said when both of us did NXT UK, and then when A-Kid like won Heritage Cup and got all like the media person stuff like that. Between the stuff that had been forging and brewing with the Spanish indie scene for the last few years, as in the White Wolf shows, the Resist shows, which was previously known as Riot. With all that stuff that had been happening, and now with the mainstream attention we're starting to get, I felt like this was gonna happen, and this is just like, it's just the first steps for now, but it's definitely gonna be bigger and bigger and bigger. And I just hope like there's like, there's one in Zaragoza too, like AWZ. See, like, it's so weird for me to have so many new schools starting that I keep forgetting them. Like that just wasn't in our minds or like a possibility a few years ago.
That's great news.
And the thing is, like, the schools are trying to do stuff properly.
Huh.
I don't want to sound like an old guy, bitter old guy, like, hey, they're doing this properly. But they're trying to train to get a ring, get a decent place to train, ask the people who have more experience than them to help them and teach them basics and teach them more advanced stuff and guide them through the process. So I think it's like on the way up, and I just hope like the fans come along with it, because I realize that the people want to do wrestling, and I just hope we make the people want to watch wrestling.
That's great news. That's really cool. I know that during quarantine, you started teaching wrestling. I don't know if you did it before, but I know that during quarantine you certainly did. And I want to tell you something like, what is the most important thing you teach to your students when you do a seminar, when you do a training session or something like that? Like, I know you can bring a lot to the table, but what is the most important thing that you try to teach to them?
That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever thought of that as like a special word or something. I did teach some before quarantine. I did run some teaching before, so I was no stranger to it. But then when I came back, it was like the only thing going on. So it was like, yeah, I'll run the school now, be like training there almost every day. My main thing I try to teach is to be a quote-unquote proper wrestler and be able to wrestle anyone, anywhere, and mostly to be able to improvise, which I'm not saying you need to do every single match, or you don't need to like make your matches, most of it, like their biggest part improv. I'm not saying that. I'm happy with that, and like I enjoy doing that sometimes, but it's not what I preach. What I preach is be able to do it. Because if you learn how to wrestle and do improv, no matter who who the opponent is and what are the circumstances of the ring, or what are the circumstances of the crowd, or if someone comes late and you just get time to get changed and go to the match, or if things go wrong and you need to solve stuff, you're gonna be covered. I remember when I first started going to the UK, when I did the progress show where I was doing a substitution where there was like big snow and like some people got stuck in airports and trains, and I was there, so I had a singles match over there with Chris Ridgway, and we planned the match, and I was stressed out, like extremely stressed out.
I can imagine.
At the moment, I didn't feel I had the tools. I had the tools to, if things were wrong, solve them. It was like, okay, let's hope everything sticks to plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you study exam, but you learn it word by word.
Yeah.
So you get one word, you don't have the whole sentence. Whereas if you know the idea, and you know the topic, and you know, like, you understand what you're talking about, and when you need to deliver the message you need to deliver, if you forget a random word, you can keep on going. I feel the same with wrestling, and I feel like if you have the tools to be a good professional wrestler, you'll always be able to deliver something.
You can adapt.
Yeah, and you always be able to deliver at least something good. From good to whatever is like very good, excellent, amazing, or whatever. I don't know. But you always be able to deliver something that the crowd is like, okay, I'm not disappointed in that. Which isn't the goal. The goal is always to deliver like very good professional wrestling. But at least like, you know, you're safe. You know, the crowd will be safe and have a good time. You know, your opponent will be safe, and you know, if things, as you said, like if things go wrong or if things need to change for whatever reason, you can adapt. And that calm, when you go to a show and wrestle with that calm, that's when matches go the best.
Okay, so I want to end the conversation asking you that, have you ever wrestled in Italy? And for what promotion, if you did?
Yes, I did. I did Italy in Milano for Rising Sun. And it was a wonderful experience. I did walk around Milan a little bit on the day of the show. Then we had 2 matches. I can't remember the name of the tag we wrestled in the first one, which I'm sad about, and I'm sorry for that. But if I'm not wrong, they had like some pirate gimmicks. And then we had like, in the evening, we had like a 3-way tag that was like madness. It was so much fun. Like, it's up on Rising Sun's YouTube, or it used to be at least, unless they've deleted it. And honestly, it was so much fun. So it was me and a kid over there for those 2 shows on the same day. And it was, so the second show we were doing, the first show, like, there were long shows. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, they were really long shows. So that meant like 2 shows in one day are usually like draining for the crowd. But if you're doing 2 long shows, that's hard to sit through. Like, no matter how much you like it, that's hard to sit through. Yeah, I'm looking at YouTube and I can seem to find the match they might have deleted. Oh no, I found it. Yeah. Us versus BBB, which was Nico Invenardi and Mirko Mori and Urban Gorilla.
Okay.
So that was like close to the end of the second show, so people might have been seen wrestling for maybe 6 hours already, or 6.5 or 7. So they were like tired of everything. It was hard to get their attention and stuff, and we like did like a spot fest with like a huge brawl all over the building. and it just seemed so much fun because the rest of the matches I were trying to do good matches and they were doing good matches. And then we did our thing, which was like fun. It was just fun and
just beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we did like we
All
did
over
beat the
the
crap out of
place.
each other a little bit when we went like on the outside and brawled. But it was overall fun. It was like fun stuff. It was interesting because it was like tournament finals. It was cool because we had like people at least like having stuff happen around them, so they were like forced to be alert and invested in that. And you know, it's one of those matches where you just have no idea how it's gonna go, and you see the crowd being like tired, so you feel like, oh my god, this could be like something hard, like a hard job today.
Yeah.
And then you go to the back and it's like, oh my god, that was so much fun. That was so much more fun than I would have ever expected. Hell yeah, that was nice. So yeah, that's how it went last time I was in Italy. It was great. And I was gonna go do another show November last year when the like restrictions were slightly lifted, but then obviously restrictions came back and the show got cancelled.
Are you planning to come back again?
I'd love to. Haven't really spoken. I just spoke to Fabio from Racing Sun to see if he's gonna try to run anything remotely soon. And I haven't spoken with any other promotion yet. I know some White Wolf friends have done IWA. But yeah, we'll see. I'm always open and I like to travel and I'm fully vaccinated and everything. So yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed.
So Italian promoters, if you're listening, Carlos Romo is available for booking. And now, Carlos, you have to give me 50 euros for this sponsorship. So, with this, I want to end this interview. You've been a very fun guest. And good luck for everything you have to do.
Thank you, Bruno. It's been a blast talking to you.